Disney likes sad things. Throughout their long history of movie making, many moments have left us with teary eyes and sniffly noses. But what are their saddest moments? What are the most heart-wrenching, world-shattering, soul-destroying scenes that Disney has thrown at us? I have taken it upon myself to present the actual, true, completely objective, and not just my opinion list of the saddest Disney moments of all time. And be forewarned, I will not include any of the cliché depressing scenes that most dominate similar lists. There will be no Mufasa, no Bambi's mom, no burning toys. Only plot points that are truly deserving will make the cut. You can trust this list to be totally accurate because I say the word sad 30 times. Now, the 100% definitive top 10 list of sad Disney movie moments. Number 10, A Maladroit Massacre, Aladdin. We begin our list with one of Disney's most beloved films, but it doesn't take long for the sad scene to rear its sad head. Our protagonist steals a loaf of bread, and the ensuing chase through the city of Agrabah becomes a bloodbath for the unsuspecting bystanders.
All this for a loaf of bread?
First, Aladdin jumps over a man lying on a bed of nails, which causes the guard at his heels to fall on the man. As you may know, a bed of nails is only safe as long as your body weight is evenly distributed. However, this man clearly contorts his body when landed on, shifting the platform, and as the camera moves on, we can just imagine his continued cries as he's impaled by hundreds of dirty steel spikes. He's dead. Next, Abu forcibly pulls a sword from a man's throat. Sword swallowing is a very technical skill that requires focused control, and a monkey removing the blade certainly caused an unplanned pharynx injury. He's real dead. Last, Aladdin climbs a floating rope, leaving the helpless rope charmer in perfect position to receive the onslaught of swords heading his way. Looking at this shot, it's clear what happens next. Dead, dead, dead. Now, if each of these people's deaths were but fleeting acts, they would not merit many feelings from a casual audience. But that is not the case. This is Abdul, a husband and father of 3 children who was earning a meager living as a street performer. His son was about to show off his very first sculpture. This is Hakim, a simple worshiper hoping to seek enlightenment through meditation. He wanted to preach peace to all the inhabitants of Agrabah. This is Rafiq, a recently married man finishing his day of rope charming to return to his wife, their first child soon to be on the way. The loss of these 3 people will forever be felt by those that love them, long after Aladdin gets his happily ever after. At least those kids got some bread. Number 9, An Innocence Lost, Pooh's Grand Adventure. In what is unquestionably the best Winnie the Pooh movie, the relationship between Christopher Robin and Pooh Bear is wonderfully guileless. Pooh has never been without his best friend. Christopher Robin's presence is a universal law. He is always there, and they are always together. So when Christopher Robin leaves, his note skewed by an alluring flood of honey, not to mention Owl being the worst, Pooh's entire world comes crashing down. The sadness felt by Pooh washes over him in waves throughout the story, his darkest hour on the cliffs of a misty mountainside. Pooh sings, pleading with the boy he can't find. Why did you leave? Why was I left behind? What will happen if we can never be? This heartbreaking realization is a feeling only those abandoned by a loved one can fully understand. Let me know in the comments below what you think happened to Christopher Robin. Number 8, a trauma designed, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
Hello, Poppy.
This moment may be the most short-lived on the list, but its effects were certainly enduring. Near the beginning of the movie, the titular pirates attacked the seaside town of Port Royal. During the onslaught, we pass a child desperately screaming for his mother. He can't be more than 4 years old. Having young children of my own, I know with certainty that kids this young cannot act. His tears are 100% real. Left seemingly alone on set, grimy adults running and yelling around him, production cannons booming and smoke furling, he is justifiably terrified. The credits list brothers Sam and Ben Roberts as both playing this crying boy, which likely means they were used during different takes of this scene. 2 children were subjected to this disturbing experience multiple times. That is a lot of sad tears. Neither Sam or Ben Roberts have any other acting credits, and it's not hard to guess why. I hope their parents invested their wages in a good therapist. Number 7, A Shattered Dream, the Tigger movie. Another Winnie the Pooh movie makes the list for saddest scenes. The Tigger movie is a roller coaster of emotions, from bouncy, trouncy, fun to existential crises in the blink of an eye. Watch Tigger's journey, from an empty locket holding a hopeful secret to a surprising letter and anticipated reunion. His elation only serves to wound him deeper when he discovers the deception. Look at him. This is the face of someone who, in one moment, lost both the family he thought he had and the friends he thought he'd never lose. Who can he turn to now? Let me know in the comments below. Number 6, A PETA Nightmare, Charlie and the Lonesome Cougar. Oh, Charlie. Poor, sad, lonesome Charlie. While the description would like you to believe that this movie follows the adventures of Good Time Charlie as he lives a carefree domestic life among the rugged logging camps of the Pacific Northwest, the film is in actuality a story of an unfortunate wild animal trapped in the dangerous and confusing human world. The narrator begins by calling Charlie
the biggest mistake Mother Nature ever made.
And
A born loser, too.
which really sets the tone for what's to come. Throughout the short runtime, the sad cougar loses his mother, is chased by bears, is chased by a dog, falls off a boat, is swept away in whitewater rapids, accidentally blows up a boat, gets chained up, gets lost, gets shot at, is chased by a bigger dog, gets lost again, begins to starve, is hunted by a whole pack of dogs, is stuck on a log flume, triggers a mousetrap, gets locked in a closet, breaks through a window, is once again chased by a dog along with an entire logging company, gets shot at again, and loses a log rolling competition due to that same dumb little dog. Distressing doesn't even begin to describe his existence. In the end, Charlie must be released back into the wild in one of the saddest scenes from the Disney library. Farewell, Charlie. You deserved better. Number 5, An Unmatchable Sacrifice, The Black Cauldron. There are many somber deaths in Disney movies. Some are largely inconsequential, like Gazerbeam, Mr. Arrow, and Snow White. And then there are the deaths which are a result of sacrifice, such as Bing Bong, Bambi's mom, and Ray. But those sacrifices are all limited to saving 1 or 2 individuals. Even Mufasa's heroic action, lauded by many as the saddest Disney death, was merely a result of primal instinct to protect offspring. But little Gurgi made an incredibly conscious and selfless choice. When the situation was most dire, this little fuzzface was willing to give all he had, not only to his friends, but to the entire world. His friends pleaded for him to be returned to them. And although we have seen the Disney gods allow others to come back to life, no such gift was granted here. As Taran held Gurgi's cold, lifeless body, he wept. And I wept! I was so distraught by the scene that I turned off the movie immediately. I couldn't cope, and I may never have the heart to finish. It was just too sad. Number 4, A Clumsy Catastrophe, Star Wars A New Hope. Okay, so this isn't technically a Disney movie, but it is now owned by Disney, so I'm counting it. In a famous scene from the original Star Wars, a stormtrooper walks into a room and hits his head on the door. Embarrassing, I know. But who was this trooper? And what happened to him after this movie? Was he mercilessly mocked? Fired? I imagined the worst. To my amazement, these questions are explored in a YouTube documentary by Jamie Stangroom. Essentially, a few different people claimed the title of Clumsy Stormtrooper, and Jamie tried to get to the definitive conclusion on who it was. One of the suspects, Laurie Good, had made a name for himself by attending conventions as the head bonker, and truly believed that he was the guy behind the mask. After a series of investigations, though, it was determined that Laurie was likely not the one in that scene. He was crushed. This is the face of someone whose whole identity has collapsed. Sadness felt by a fictional character is one thing, but it's an entirely different thing when felt by real people. I'll never watch this scene the same way again. But seriously, go check out this documentary. It's so wonderful. It has humor, great cinematography, great pacing. It's a real treat. Really, the low viewership might be the saddest part. A link to it is down in the description. Okay, back to the sad list. Number 3, the best doggone dog, Old Yeller. If you've never seen this movie, then you have lived a happier life than me. And you should probably stop the video now, because there's no coming back from Old Yeller. Okay, here we go. This is a classic story of boy meets dog. Boy and dog become lifelong friends. Dog saves family from wolf. Dog gets rabies and has to be locked up. Boy has to... I can't even finish the summary. Just watch it for yourself.
He was my dog. I'll do it.
Number 2, an unseen tragedy, The Sword in the Stone. In this movie, young page boy Arthur is transformed into different animals by Merlin the Wizard, with each subsequent adventure teaching Arthur important life lessons. During one such transformation, Arthur comes across a rather Twitter-pated female squirrel. A fun romp through the trees ensues until Arthur is transformed back into a human, leaving the girl squirrel crying in solitude. While this is kind of sad, the true sorrow is much worse. First, we need to establish some history. In the United Kingdom, where the story takes place, there are 2 species of squirrel, the eastern gray squirrel and the red squirrel. Gray squirrels weren't introduced to the UK until the 1870s, and since the story of King Arthur takes place during the 5th or 6th century, it is safe to assume that all the squirrels in the movie are red squirrels. Next, we need to lay out a few red squirrel facts. They have a lifespan of 3 years. A female is only fertile for 1 day each year, beginning at about 1 year of age. And typically several males will compete to mate with one female through a mating chase. With that in mind, there are several oddities during this scene. For one, there don't seem to be any male squirrels in the forest, as the only squirrels Arthur and Merlin come across are 2 females. Second, the girl squirrel chases Arthur in a very mating chase kind of way, which is opposite of what normally occurs. As we ruminate on this information, a sad story begins to reveal itself. Imagine a year earlier, during the squirrel's first mating season, she quickly discovers she lives in an area of the woods with no males. The day passes in angst. The next year, she is overjoyed to find a male squirrel and springs into action. She initiates the mating chase, and to her, the 2 squirrels seem to be converging towards the same goal. But then, quite suddenly, the male squirrel is no longer there. The bewildered squirrel stares up at a human boy, and the horrible truth dawns on her. This was her last fertile day before she died, and it was wasted on him. Her biological purpose and desire to bear offspring will be left unfulfilled. With no children for her to pass on her genes, she will, quite literally, cease to exist. Sleep is my lover now, my forgiving, my opiate, my oblivion. Oh, and her fan-given name is Hazel. That somehow makes it worse. And the number 1 saddest moment in Disney movies is... it's Bambi. That just sucks.